Hello, everyone. It's Sarah Towle, author of Crossing the Line and the writer of the Tales of Humanity Substack newsletter. I'm beaming in today with some immigration news and to extend an urgent invitation. I promise to take no more than 15 minutes of your time, more or less. So this week, on Monday, May 18th, 2026, the Brookings Institute, a DC-based nonprofit research and public policy institute, released a shocking report, which is saying a lot since every day of the second Trump regime, now 16 long months and counting, has brought a new horror. But responding to the question, the administration has detained 400,000 immigrants. What do we know about their children? Researchers cross-referenced various data sources to reveal that Trump and Co.'s Department of Homeland Security goon squads have created a new family separation crisis that trumps their first separation debacle by exponential degrees. While the estimate is imprecise, writes my friend, the ICE scholar Austin Coker, the methodology is transparent and the assumptions are conservative, meaning that the true number could be well higher. Though few are framing today's issues in terms of family separation, this time around, the Brookings study does estimate that the 400,000 adults who have been disappeared by rampaging federal agents, taken from their homes, their workplaces, their court appointments, their routine ICE check-ins, pulled from their cars, from their kids' school bus lines, even from hospitals, have left behind over 200,000 children, including around 145,000 US citizens, exacting traumas upon these kids and their extended communities of family, neighbors, and friends from which they may never recover. Even a short separation from a parent is experienced as torture by a child, according to Physicians for Human Rights, the American Pediatrics Association, and other child welfare organizations. But for the majority of the families that have fallen victim to Trump and Co.'s dragnet, the separations are never temporary. Indeed, ProPublica reported in March 2026 that 60% of mothers abducted by ICE in the first 7 months of the second Trump regime had been expelled from the US without their children. Some were not even asked if they wanted their children to accompany them, which is required by law. Some were not even asked if they were mothers. The Brookings data suggest that about 36% of the children now orphaned by the US government are younger than 6 years old. What's more, about 22,000 children have experienced the detention of not one, but more than one parent. This is family separation on steroids. We are bearing witness to another shameful chapter of ethnic cleansing and, quite frankly, a potential genocide against the world's stateless, as the capacity of the ICE detention gulag expands before our very eyes, powered by the 2025 legislative package Trump and Co. call beautiful, what I prefer to refer to as the MAGA murder mandate, which allocates $45 billion expressly for building more prisons, more than 80% of which are owned and operated by profiteers, by publicly traded companies like Geo Group and CoreCivic. These are today's Milo Minder binders, the fictional character in Joseph Heller's 1961 novel, Catch-22, who symbolizes the greed and power, how greed and power can so easily turn a profit for profit into the embodiment of evil. These are to Trump's coming Holocaust what IBM was to Hitler's. The corporate enablers of dehumanization, misery, and death, enjoying their McMansions and their yachts and their private jets without a care for the lives and the families they are complicit in destroying. I've written about the horrific conditions inside CoreCivic's notorious baby jail in Dilley, Texas. I'll soon be publishing a story about Geo Group's death camp in Newark, New Jersey, called Delaney Hall, where also this week, 288 inmates released a letter detailing egregious legal and human rights violations. And it was the second collective grievance in 3 months from folks trapped inside this particular Geo Group facility. But the now front and center news, at least in my feeds, about the abysmal conditions that abound in the 200 plus facilities of the ICE gulag are not new. This is not new. Prisons are black sites. Black sites breed impunity, and where profits are prioritized over people, there can be no expectation that human rights will be respected, especially when in the hands of a regime that wears cruelty like a badge of honor. Indeed, when the carnival barkers making bank off the ICE detention to deportation human trafficking pipeline assembled last month in Phoenix for the Border Security Expo to vie for their slice of the immigration enforcement pie, the father of Trump and Co.'s original family separation policy, Thomas Homan, stated before cameras that while so-called criminals and public safety and national security threats are the priority for ICE and Border Patrol paramilitaries, that does not mean that everyone else is off the table. He has no remorse for the collaterals, as he calls them, that have been caught up in this wide-ranging web of cruelty for cruelty's sake. And that includes the 200,000 children of the roughly 400,000 parents this Gestapo has detained thus far, more than 70% of whom have no criminal record of any kind in any country, according to Syracuse University's Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse. That's as of 2026. The data also show that the remaining 30% have only committed minor offenses like traffic violations. That's 100%. Inside the ICE for-profit immigration gulag, people are being denied adequate food, they're being denied water, they're being denied hygiene supplies like soap and sanitary pads. Food is often rotten, moldy, or already being fed upon by worms. ICE inmates are not given meaningful access to their loved ones or their lawyers. They are not getting appropriate medical care, even when contagious diseases rip through facilities. They are being subjected to arbitrary and punitive use of solitary confinement. They can make phone calls and top up their meager rations with cup of noodles, but only at extortionist prices. They are made to work, but are paid only $1 a day. Sexual abuse and racial derogatory bullying are common, and none of this is new. During the first Trump regime, it was private pop-up prisons under tents on inaccessible, barren federal lands and inside military bases, both active as well as decommissioned. Now they are attempting to turn warehouse distribution hubs for moving commercial goods paid for at double and triple their actual market value to create concentration camp-style internment facilities that will transform the detention to deportation machine into, in current acting ICE Director Todd Lyons' words, Amazon Prime for people. Under Lyons, 2025 was ICE's deadliest year, with as many as 32 recorded deaths among the detained. It was ICE's highest annual death toll in 2 decades. And with 18 recorded deaths as of this recording in 2026, ICE is on track to outshaming their former shame before this year is over. So far, a total of 9 people have now died by suicide in ICE custody since the second regime's inauguration. If you are outraged by all of this, as I am, then I have an idea for transforming that sentiment into action, because outrage is not enough, and regime change cannot wait until 2028. We must also step up now. We must lean into our agency. We can protest, as we have been doing. We can bring suit, as our legal advocates have been doing. But what we can also do is make Core Civic and Geo Group feel our disgust where it hurts them most, in the corporate purse. We can do that by divesting from the prison industrial complex. Now, divestment campaigns are organized grassroots or institutional movements that urge organizations such as universities, pension plans, retirement programmers, mutual fund managers, employment unions, etc., to withdraw their investments from unethical, amoral, harmful, and controversial industries. The primary goal is to exert economic pressure, remove social license, and stigmatize specific actors and sectors that are acting against the common good. Divestment works. We need only to look back to the global campaign of the 70s and 80s that successfully pressured governments, universities, and corporations alike to withdraw their investments from South Africa, forcing the dismantling of the white supremacist apartheid regime. Today, an apartheid regime has taken hold of the US government and its institutions. It is strangling the soul of the body politic, and it is being paid for by us with our taxpayer dollars, funneled to corporate profiteers at the hands of what history will eventually acknowledge are the worst of the worst authoritarian demagogues. The for profit detention to deportation machinery of misery that they have spawned and are now spreading across the globe reflects the fascist ideology that stalks the earth once more. It is made manifest in today's border industrial complex, the grandchild of the Cold War era military industrial complex, and the sibling of the post 9/11 national security state. In development since the Reagan Bush administration, the border industrial complex now encircles the globe like a second equator, cleaving the wealthy, predominantly white world of the global north from the less white, less wealthy global south, creating a now global apartheid, where borders, which have always been tools of in-group, out-group exclusion and are therefore inherently racist, are growing taller, deeper, wider, angrier, and more violent all the time. Private prisons are part and parcel of this worldwide project, and Geo Group and CoreCivic are its primary beneficiaries. From the earliest contracts they received under Reagan as the Walkenhut and Corrections Corporation of America, respectively, they have both evolved into multi-billion-dollar entities that exist to enslave people who have largely committed no crime. They have spent lavishly on lobbying our elected officials to maintain their top spot in the government contract pecking order, from MAGA hat wearing racists to fiscally conservative Republicans, the former GOP, to moderate Democrats as well. They have propagandized rural communities to believe there is economic value in locking up people whose statelessness is the fault of our foundationally racist, completely arcane, and notoriously broken immigration system. Such an arrangement, states John Dacey, executive director of Abolish Private Prisons, has no place in a free and just society. And yet it has been in development since the presidency of Ronald Reagan, allowed to take root and flourish under the Clinton presidency, and then exploded under Obama, whose VP Joe Biden acknowledged and promised to roll back the use of private prisons under ICE as a candidate, but continued to fund and facilitate as president. Now, this evil system is in the hands of a madman who has harnessed it to enable the ethnic cleansing aspirations of his minions and sycophants. Sadly, we cannot change this heinous administration until, or this heinous system, until the administration, the regime, has been overturned and tossed to El Dompe of history. But we can and we must make every effort to get in their way and to sound the alarm. So I invite you to join me and John Dacey, who I just quoted, and other allies who've done it, like Jennifer Nelson, Diana Zuckerman, and John Fricker, to learn how to find the prison profiteers hiding in your financial portfolio, because guaranteed they are there. Whether you play the stock market or just pay into a pension plan, you have private prison profiteers hiding out in your portfolio. And we can show you how to find them and dispose of them. So join us this Sunday, May 24th, from 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, so 2 o'clock Central, etc. Join us. I know it's Memorial Day weekend, but maybe that's a good thing. You'll have some bandwidth, you'll have some time, bring some coffee or a glass of wine or a beer, and join us to figure out how to divest of the prison profiteers hiding out in your portfolio. Now, it may feel like a small move, but this is how grassroots movements are made. From each of us applying our learning to take individual action, then passing our knowledge on to others to take more collective action. From workshop to workshop, from community to community, until we realize together a nationwide campaign capable of forcing the corporate hand. We need to say no to the Milo Minderbinders who are committing ethnic cleansing with our tax dollars and in our name. We need to say hell no to today's Holocaust IBMs, which, by the way, includes IBM. Don't allow them to use your hard-won earnings to exact misery and pain on others as they enrich themselves. Say no to ICE's immigrant gulag and Gestapo and the prison industrial complex it supports. More importantly, stay strong, everyone, and stay connected. Know your allies and keep them close, because the only way through this is together. I hope to see you Sunday. You'll find workshop registration links in the notes below as soon as I get this published. And until then, have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Ciao for now.